Hello, I'm Stuart Bloor. I find it funny when people contact me and say, we read your angling journal every week. What's your favourite fish? Because if you read my angling journal even once a month, after a very short period of time, you would soon pick up the fact that my favourite fish is the perch. And that's where I am today, perch fishing on a reservoir that I've been on recently. So if you do read it every week, you will know that I've done a number of sessions so far and I've had some decent enough fish. But of course, as always, looking for that really big monster to put in an appearance. Great thing about this venue is that apart from a few matches and a few odd sessions that people have had over the years, it's pretty much unfished for the specimen angler on a sort of a recent basis. And so it's great to come to a place like this where you don't really have any previous knowledge at all, and it's so big as well. It's 100 acres, so you're actually fishing something that isn't just a tiny little goldfish bowl tucked away where you know what's been stocked. And that's the exciting thing about it, isn't it, really? It's a lovely day today. As someone who fishes in all kinds of weather, and if you do read my angling journal, watch my videos, you'll know that right the way through the last couple of winters in that severe weather that we had, I was out there as much as I could fish, according to the rivers and the lakes being frozen, of course. And so lots of insects today, and so it's great to to come out and fish in some nice conditions. But there's a little bit of a chop on the surface, which is what I want, although it is deep. It's a big reservoir, as I've said, and it is quite deep. So I'm fishing a cage feeder. I've got my bait mixed up, ready to load it, stick a worm on the hook, cast out, and let's see. You saw my rod tip there. I'm fishing a quiver tip, and it's a 1 ounce glass insert. As I've already said, fishing at some distance and at some depth as well. So the 1 ounce tip is just right. There's my cage feeder, and there's the worm on the end there, about to cast out. Usually the plan is that I do a few casts. If there are fish in the area and you're dropping right on them, obviously you'll get amongst them first cast out. But generally 3-4 casts or whatever I've needed to do on this reservoir so far to bring the fish in. So I think this is my third cast now, so who knows, might get a fish this time. I'm still waiting for my first fish. Didn't come as quickly as I expected it to. Mind you, the rain's come down now, and one thing I must say, if you fish in Britain, always take your umbrella. Even when the forecast, like today, predicted dry weather, always take your brolly, just in case. It's really coming down now. It's actually bouncing off the surface of the lake. Mind you, I don't mind getting a bite now. I'll very happily get wet just to get out there and get me a good perch. As you can see, I'm back at the car now, getting my boots off and my Converses on. What a day that's been. It started off great. The sun was out in my t-shirt and sunglasses on, waiting for a fish. Didn't get anything at all. And then the weather changed. And as you've seen from some of the clips on the film up to date, it's been quite horrendous. So nothing at all. I did get a few plucks, and they weren't roach. They weren't lightning quick bites with sucked maggots at the end of it. I think they were perch, and I think the perch were in such a frame of mind that they just couldn't be bothered. It's that sort of a day, and we have those days, don't we, as anglers? Sometimes we just have to write the day off and then think about it, get our sort of thoughts together again, and get back for the next session. And that's what I'm doing. On the way back home, I'll be analysing the session, analysing what went wrong, what could I have done, could I have done anything different to turn the day around. But the fact is, I'll be back and I will catch that perch for this particular Angling Journal entry.
I'm actually sitting right next to the River Stour in Kidderminster, just outside the SBS factory at the moment. But I'm looking at this now and it brings back memories. Although my first fish didn't come off a river, it came off a small canal, not much wider than this. And my first fish was a stone loach, and it's a fish that I remember. I'll remember for the rest of my life when it was my first fish. Nobody else fished in the family, and I just took to fishing straight away. You know, I caught a stone loach and then I caught a perch, and one fish I could never catch was a roach, because you had to be a proper angler to catch a roach, and I wasn't a proper angler. I used heavy gear and 5 granny knots to put an eyed hook on, and of course a stone loach or a perch would stand for that, but not a clever old roach. And eventually, you know, after failing many times, hitting my head against the wall on a number of occasions, I eventually caught some fish, and here I am. You know, sort of gone all around the world catching fish, so you never know. Started with a stone loach and ended with a great white of just under 2,000 pounds. What a sport.
This is my 3rd session, and if you read the article, you'll find out why I've returned to the same place and indeed the same peg. So I'm on a lake for tonight, and I'm pretty confident, based on the 2nd session of course, that I'm going to get a bend in my rod tonight. Not the blank of the first time out where I really struggled on the reservoir, but I'm very confident that I'm going to get amongst these fish. Just cast out, watching the quiver tip there, and put the mix out. I'll tell you all about that in the article, write about that, what I've put into the balls of bait that I've put out, and just waiting now for that tip to come to life. I'm very confident. I know you can't always base a session on the one that you had before, but it's a water that I'm fishing. It's only the 2nd time. Last time was the first time out. It's a water that is neglected for perch, and perch, like a number of other species, do thrive on neglect. Well, they're not going to be neglected anymore. First fish, small perch. Don't think I need the net for this one, but no blanker. It's always a good start, isn't it? There it is. There it is. As I said, just there it is. Just a small one, but I've actually had a fish for the camera, so that's good. Just flicking the bait out again. Not fishing far out on the edge. Of course, all that information will be in the article. Put the rod down, tighten up, wait for a fish. Another perch. Doesn't need the net though, just swing it in. I've been catching fish pretty regular through the evening. I have had a few spells though. It hasn't been as hectic as I have hoped for, but I'm into the last hour and a quarter, hour and 20 minutes now, and I'm hoping that the fish really come on the feed at this time.